Hi, this is Josh Dickinson. We're going to look at how you can write a rhetorical analysis. This is a common writing task where there are a lot of pitfalls and traps to it. Basically, you're always analyzing in academic writing. You're breaking something that's a whole working thing into its parts. But with rhetorical analysis, we want to avoid really writing a lot about the content of the article we're analyzing. We focus on the form. So it's a very formal exercise. And we can run into the problem of measuring those things and saying, oh, there's diction in this. There's humor in this. There is an example in this essay. Well, of course, there's going to be diction. Diction is word choice. Humor, you can argue, because it's often inappropriate or surprising or talks about things that in ways that we normally can't. But, we really can't talk about proving that there's an example. That becomes arguing the obvious. And at the college level, we want to get a little higher up and to actually make somebody disagree with us. So your thesis always has to be arguable, provable, but it should start a fight in that sense. Here's my sample, and basically you would pick from any one of these. I'm going to have us look at this Atlantic article, Why Are Young People Having So Little Sex? Very tempting to talk about sex, and yet that's not what we want. So defending an arguable claim about how the rhetorical devices combine to make the essay function effectively. So you'd want to avoid having like a paragraph about symbolism and a paragraph about examples and a paragraph about statistics and then never connecting those, because then it's a series of mini essays, and that's not useful for many people. Diction, sentence variety, translation. It could be translation, or punctuation even. Is the person using a bunch of double dashes, like Emily Dickinson or somebody like that? How technical is the language? If this person's talking about sex, are they using big words? Are they trying to impress people? Or who is the actual audience that this is for? So there are no shortage of guides online you can find that will walk you through some questions to ask, how to analyze the audience. When I see that it's the Atlantic, I can look at the ads. I could go to their website. I could figure out exactly who this is demographically, this is written for. The length of the article could tell me. And just some things here. We tend to see people write reviews. I loved it. I hated it. I cried. I laughed. Couldn't put it down. Not what we want. You really are not reviewing or weighing in on a topic. So if somebody was very conservative and this is about sex, they'd be like, oh, it's great. Nobody's having sex. Great. That's not what we want. You're not writing an essay about the essay topic that the writer was writing about. You're writing about how the writer writes. It's a very different purpose. And if you do one, you won't do the other well. Do not summarize to an audience who has read the article. That's kind of insulting. So we don't want to just review or summarize. So I'm going to leave that there, and we'll go to the actual article. Everything about an article, from the font to the pictures, birds and bees here, to like how a writer begins. These should be boom times for sex. Short sentence, in your face. It setting up something. Should be, isn't. So I'm already looking at the share of Americans who say sex between unmarried adults is not wrong at all, is at an all-time high. New cases of HIV are an all-time low. Most women can at last get birth control for free in the morning after pill without a prescription. That's all set up. We know that's set up because we're going to get into this. So you could look at italics here. She's talking about all kinds of sex, talking about teen vogue and polyamory and using the definition early on, underlining, all kinds of things going on. There's our double dashes. So even at the very beginning of this, there's a lot to analyze. So you're not going to be bored. If you look at the scroll bar on the right, this is an Atlantic article. It's meant for people to have the attention span to read. So, it's got numbered sections. One of the reasons some people don't have sex as often is it's incredibly painful for them. And so she has this whole section on that issue. So I want you to just think about how you are seeing the structure of this and avoiding summary, avoiding wading into the content. With an issue like sex, you're being set up. I mean, you see all kinds of things that are being set up. Where are the experts being used, and then how are they being used? So I want you to think about that as you structure a rhetorical analysis and avoid those traps. Thanks.